To the final phase of Countdown 2019 on Nigeria Info 99.3 with me, Macnobleson-Idowu. As usual, we feature all the big and significant issues on the road to the 2019 presidential and governorship handovers, election of National Assembly and State Assembly leaderships, and appointment of ministers and commissioners. Remember, you can follow the program on Twitter at Countdown2019NG and myself at Macnobleson-Idowu. Ayo Obe is unavoidably away, but you can follow him at Ayo Obe. You can also tweet at us at the station handle at Nigeria Info FM. Our big topic today on both the idea segment with Ayo Obe and on the main program is the 4.68 billion welcome package for Nigeria's incoming National Assembly members, legal or ethical. Welcome. With us in the studio today is Nigeria Info Politics Editor Judges Macnobleson-Idowu. Also welcome Ayo Obe.
Hello, thank you.
And joining us on the line will be the Executive Director of SERAP, Adetokunbo Momoni. Is he with us now? Okay. All right. So, Adetokunbo, are you with us now? Okay, excellent. Thank you so much for joining us. SERAP has been very active on this. Okay. In the studio with us is Ayo Obe. Ayo will be leading on the idea segment. And after that, kindly stay with us while we continue into the main program. And I'm sure that our listeners will have lots of questions for you at SERAP.
Okay, Rotimi, welcome listeners to the idea segment of the Countdown 2019 program. Here we look at issues of integrity, democracy, ethics and accountability, and you can contact us on at Ideas Radio NG. And you can also, of course, follow me on at Nijama, but of course there you find that I'm not necessarily talking only about ideas issue. We're looking at the welcome package that the National Assembly members are due to get. And you remember that a couple of weeks ago we were discussing the farewell package that the outgoing members were going to get. And you might have felt that, oh, the people who were not re-elected are lucky because they have so much to look forward to, including some lifelong pensions for just 4 years of work. But as it happens, the ones who are staying or the ones who are coming in are not missing out either, because we have this 4.6 billion package. Now, of course, 4.6 billion sounds like a huge amount of money, and it's obviously going to be, if you're on one side, you will report it in that way so as to stir the maximum outrage. But then when you look at the fact that it's dispersed among 469 legislators, you break it down and say, what is each individual legislator going to get? Of course, the figures there are not so mind-boggling, but they're nothing to be ashamed of putting into your pocket either. If we look, for example, at the money that an incoming member of the National Assembly will get, that's an honourable representative, they are going to get a total of 9.9 million for accommodation and for furniture. And then on top of that, they also get what is said to be a loan for transport and so on, but which so far has not entered into the books as anything that is to be repaid by the legislators, whether they're coming or going. In the Senate, if you're a senator, you get 10.1 million for your furniture and for your accommodation. And these are obviously huge amounts, which for some people they may not look big, but I just wonder, Abdulmumuni, what your understanding of the legality or the basis on which these sums are calculated is.
Thank you very much. I wonder what is the basis of an upfront payment for any legislator. I believe that the idea of salary and wage, for instance, should be on the basis of work done, and it should be proportionate to the economic reality of the average Nigerian.
Well, I mean, Abdulmumuni, can we really be talking about the average Nigerian when we know that more than half of our population is living in poverty? And apparently, these figures are based on a prescription by the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission. So there is supposed to be some kind of basis for it.
You see, in that environment, when the quality of that picture was anything to be said to any public worker,
Yes.
they will normally base it on the prevailing economic reality of their area point.
But Abdulmumuni, can we base that on our prevailing realities? As I said, more than half the population is living in poverty. So do we say that because people are living in poverty, their elected representatives should not be able to move from where they are based in Nigeria to take up their duties in Abuja?
So then what I say is that I don't see the basis of paying billions of naira in whatever they fall to the elected representative of the people. I don't see a particular point. Because
Well, can we perhaps look at the situation where an ordinary civil servant, say, as we know, many of them are transferred from one state to another. I'm not even going to talk about members of the Nigeria Police Force, because I think we know the situation, that they are posted up, down, left, right, and they have to find their way and sleep where they can. So there's nothing like accommodation allowance, not to talk of furniture in which to put inside the accommodation. But are you suggesting that our elected representatives should be treated like ordinary policemen who risk their lives facing robbers?
let us read the opportunity about what is special in a spiritual community of importance to be sure for the food of that of the people. And tell me what is, let us reason what is so important about that. Every Nigerian can easily do that. Only Nigerian police, members of Nigerian police, are too much serious life-threatening work.
Well, those people are only going out to risk their lives, Abdulmumuni. I mean, you don't expect them to be paid furniture and accommodation allowance.
Members of Nigerian police force pay more serious damage
Yes.
to their life as well than these so unlovable. And that is the point. These those people who engage and who are first responders in matters of security are not given any special, are not paid any fantastic amount of money. I don't see the basis for a common case of ability to use that. So they pay a sufficient amount of money for the assignment that he has voluntarily elected to take off. That is the point that must be made. If
The thing is that you see, you have a situation where the seat of the lawmaking at the federal level is in Abuja, and some legislators could be coming from Gwoza in Borno State or from Port Harcourt, and so that compared to legislators who are perhaps living in Nasarawa and can afford to commute, is it fair that they should be expected to finance their transport, their accommodation and everything in a place that is far from where they live, while others are enjoying something much more conducive?
What I even think should make sense is that when people, let me give an instance of when people attend conferences and whatever, they are paying not exorbitant amount of money, but to cover the cost of transportation.
Okay.
I don't think they are coming from Gwoza in Borno, for instance, and they are coming from Abuja to take up an assignment. You need billions to get to Abuja.
Well, no. Let me clarify something. The expectation is that not that you'll be coming on a regular basis and staying in an hotel, which would quite frankly probably be cheaper, but that you will come, rent accommodation and stay there, and then that's why you need these 9.9 million or 10.1 million if you're a senator, because as a senator you apparently occupy slightly more space. You know, but I also want to draw your attention, Adwumuni, to the fact that we are focusing on our legislators, because when you add it all together, you can come up with this huge sum of 4.6 billion. But we look at what is being spent by the executive, the presidency, for each minister, at the state level, for the state governors and commissioners. And we don't expect them, or we also don't expect them to live the way that former Lagos State Governor Alhaji Lateef Jakonde did in his own house, driving his own car, do we? Or is that unreasonable?
You say, like I said the last time I was on the program, I said we have to start having a reasonable conversation about what would not be ridiculous, but what will also not get to be outrageous. You see, unless we have the discussion as to a reasonable minimum standard, we will be serving those who are supposed to serve us, and we will all, the Nigerians will be terribly endangered for it. I don't think under any circumstance, in view of the prevailing Nigerian economic reality, that any group of Nigerians, because they are in government, whether as a deputy or legislator, will now corner for themselves resources that would make life all for Nigerians. I don't think that is.
I wonder whether you've been able to understand or engage the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission to understand the basis on which they come up with these sums. Because as I said, some people would be looking and saying that isn't it cheaper, considering the number of days that they spend in Abuja making laws, for them to stay in a hotel for 3 or 4 nights and go home and live in their houses for the rest of and see their constituents and so on. Have we done any comparative cost analysis for some of these things?
What I know is that when anybody is similarly engaged in what the legislators say they are engaged in, let's take private sector for instance. Let's like the standard of private establishment. Are we saying when somebody in a private establishment is engaged, for instance, as far as Borno State, to come and work in Abuja, will the private establishment pay such empty amount of money for his work to be done?
But aren't these the kind of questions that we need to be engaging? Because I think that in a way, we're having a kind of instant reaction to the huge amount that is being lifted. And we're not being able to do the kind of comparison that allows us to say, well, this is what private companies place. I've already given the example of police officers who, quite frankly, if they get it, a month late and $1 short, or a day late and $1 short, as the saying goes. And so we have those two extremes. And of our legislators, are our legislators in between what the policeman doesn't get and what the private sector gets, or are they way beyond the pale of both? I think that if we have some of these, because the reason why I mentioned the executive is this feeling that it's as if we're being encouraged to point the finger at the legislators, but to close our eyes to the huge amounts being spent by the executive. We remember the famous State House cutlery that is a recurring bad decimal in the annual budget. So it's as if we're being asked to look at those and point the finger at the people who should be closest to us, and to ignore what is happening at the executive level. Mm-hmm.
There is no technology for amounting strength for those
who are supposed to be governing us.
So we are not focused on the government.
Mm-hmm.
We are not focused on the legislative. Wherever we see
profligacy. Mm-hmm.
And that is the alarm that they are raising here. I don't know the duty and the basis or the work of the revenue and fiscal and African Commission. What is the base of their work? If a private establishment will not pay this such an amount to a privately engaged worker, I don't think there is anything approved by the revenue organization and Commission.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. I want to thank you very much, Abdul Mumini, for appearing on the Ideas segment of the Countdown show. We're going to close the Ideas segment now, but I think you're going to still be on for discussions with Rotimi and Georges. And let me hope that it's not just a concatenation of outrage and outrage upon outrage.
Well, Serap is... Adetokunbo, please hold on. After the...